Hello again. This is Walter. If you're new, I am Misty Lynn, and this is my Duck Pond Diaries. As a recap, my mother, Deborah Ann Wilhite, went to work at the Windmill, the restaurant at the Windmill Motel in 1974. October 14th, 1974. She had just worked there, I think, about a week. There was a man that came in and was asking her for a ride that night. People that worked with her, one said she thought he knew the man, one said she didn't think she knew him. At the end of her shift, she left. No one saw if he actually went with her at the same time, or if no one saw them get in a car. No one saw her actually leave in the car. And she was never seen again, nor was the car. I'll just do a little recap of all the things that happened after that also. That's when I was 18 months old, and I had an older sister who was 3, Amy Sue. Sometime after our mother disappeared, Amy was diagnosed with leukemia. After Deborah disappeared, our father, Jeff Wilhite, moved in with his mother-in-law, Deborah's mother, with us girls. When I was 3, he was killed in a car train accident in 1976. And then Lucille, who was my grandmother, Deborah's mother, took guardianship over me and Amy. Amy ended up passing away of leukemia at St. Jude's in Memphis when I was 5, and she was getting ready to turn 8, I believe. She was 7. And I was raised by my grandmother. So, someone had told someone who told someone that they had shot my mother in the head, put her body in the trunk of her car, and put it into a stripper pit in or around Elberfeld that was filled with water, so the car wouldn't have been seen. And the stripper pit in question was supposed to have been nicknamed the Duck Pond. When my grandmother is the one who received that information, Lucille, who raised me. When she received that information, and what year this was received and when, I'm not sure, I don't know. She said that she called the police, asked for a specific officer, told him about it, never heard anything else, and she just assumed it was not true and nothing came of it. She told me that when I was 20. At the time, my firstborn son was about the same age as I was when my mother disappeared. The detective who had my mother's case at that time, now granted this was back in 1994, things were a lot different. They will not allow this now. Sergeant Joe Rhodes allowed me and my grandmother to come in and sit and look at the whole case file, which was kind of him, I thought. Now they say they will not do that. Only a law enforcement agency or a law enforcement officer can do that. But anyway, in 1994, it happened. It actually happened many more times after that with other detectives. I myself went back once or twice, I think. My 2 aunts went back. It went at least once, maybe more, and were able to view the case file. But anyway, now, 2025, that's not going to happen. There's a cold case unit now that just started, I believe, last year. So things are different. And of course, things were different in the 90s. At that time, the case file was all paper. And I looked and sat through this whole case file, and there was nothing about the duck pond. There was nothing about them receiving that information. There was nothing about them looking into it. There was nothing. And I asked about it then. Again, this was 1994. She disappeared in 1974. And they said if We if we received it, it would be in the case file. Um, my mom, I call her mom, Lucille, my grandmother who raised me, I call her mom because she was the only mom that I ever grew up with and knew. She insisted that she had called and asked for the specific person who was there with us. And anyway, it doesn't matter now. So he said he would look into it now. He said that he found, again, 1994, I was told they found this area that was a stripper pit that was nicknamed the Duck Pond. They told me they found this area. They told me that in, I believe, 1984 or the early 80s anyway, that specific stripper pit was drained of all of its water contents, and that there was enough silt at the bottom of it. If her car was in fact in there, the workers there would have not seen it. It was then filled in completely with dirt. There was a detective like in the late 90s, early 2000s. This was probably the third one that was on the case since I started getting into it in the 90s. That told me he was going to take me back to where this area was, but things kept happening. Like it was too rainy, it was too muddy, you couldn't get back there. In the wintertime, it was too icy, you couldn't get back there. I don't know where this area is. It's always been a thing because it couldn't be proven or disproven if her car and her remains are just sitting there. So anyway, it's just, law enforcement isn't going to just excavate an area just because someone said it might be whatever. So in January of 2025, this year, I was contacted by Danelle Boyles, who goes kayaking at the Bluegrass Fish and Wildlife area in Elberfeld, Indiana. And she is an intuitive person. She channels those who have gone beyond. I know a lot of people don't believe that. Like I've said in other past videos, I 100% do. Some people have special gifts. And she contacted me and said that she had channeled my mother. At first she didn't know, I'm assuming that they don't give you a visualization of their driver's license with all of their information and their social security card. It doesn't happen like that. So it took her a minute to figure out who it was with the things that she was given and the sites that she was given to see. So this was in the summer of 2024 when this first happened. She channeled it more than once. And she contacted the Indiana State Police 5 times, I believe, over the phone. I think she probably emailed, she left messages, she went there. And I confirmed and talked to a Sergeant Helmer at the Indiana State Police on the 13th of January of this year. And he confirmed, yes, she did try to contact us. She did contact us. She came here trying to give them this information about where to find Deborah Wilhite. They will not take this information because it is inadmissible in a court of law. They will not accept this information. They won't take it. And I spoke about this in the last video that I posted, I think. So, my mother's case is being rejuvenated by this, thanks to Danelle.